Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 8th of May for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout details to look out for that we can all collectively relate to, but please stay with me. I will then explore each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in much greater detail. Now this week sees Jupiter and Pluto continue their right angle. Pluto's about power and of course is now in retrograde. Jupiter is about expansion. So when we get them at right angles, there can be a tendency to try a little bit too hard, or we may encounter somebody who's trying to enforce their will on us. And at the heart of this week's events, of course, is the energy compacted into the sign of Taurus. This is where the Sun is, which is critical, the retreating, retrograding Mercury, but also the North Node. So our values, our everyday money, our self-worth, still very much in focus. But we now have Venus in the sign of Cancer along with Mars, and that's a water sign, and they're both interacting really positively with two influences in another water sign of Pisces, and that's in the guise of Saturn and Neptune. So what can we take from this? Well, I feel that this is a week where we need to be very tuned in to how things feel. So even if we're dealing with some practicalities, very Taurus-like energy, or money, or we're grappling with something that may not necessarily be that easy due to the Mercury retrograde, there could be some snags or snares or some rethinking going on. The best way to navigate all of this is to listen to our inner guide, so our sixth sense, because when we go against that, that's when things can get a little tricky. But we also have a quarter moon in the sign of Aquarius on Thursday, where Pluto is, and that is in a square with the Sun in Taurus. So I feel one of the things that can come into this week could be some challenges around our future planning or our connections to others, where our values or the financial elements of a situation don't quite stack up in the way that we hope, which is the 11th house energy of higher expectations. So we need to keep our feet very much on the ground with this earthy energy, but tune into how things feel. Now, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining us. This is very much a community. I'd be honoured if you'd subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And do share any thoughts you have. I try to interact with each one. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. And if you would like your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, then please see the link below where you can subscribe. I've been writing these for about 28 years, and I think that's unusual amongst the YouTube astrologers. So Scorpio, your week commencing the 8th of May forecast sees your ruler Mars, your traditional ruler, still in that very expansive, exciting and adventurous location, the 9th house in your sister water sign of Cancer, but joined this week by Venus. Venus in the 9th house in a relationship context gives us the desire to find out the truth of what our relationships are about. But of course, Venus can also be about the things we enjoy. So if you're someone who has a big passion for holidaying, different types of cultures or foods, you may experiment a little bit around those things and get a lot of enjoyment from that. But both those planets are linking well with energy in the sign of Pisces, also, like you, a water sign. So the water triplicity is really well represented this week, and there is a conversation going on between the planets in Cancer and those in Pisces, which for you, the 5th house, very much about your self-expression, can be about your love life or your social situation. So some really bubbly stuff. But of course, Mercury does continue its retrograde in your sector of relating, but it's anchored well by Saturn. If you choose your words carefully, or you're working with your listening skills, I feel that the lunar eclipse which occurred in your sign last week gives you an opportunity to say how you feel about key relationships, but I think you can get your point across in a very constructive way this week with all this planetary support. What about the quarter moon? Well, the area that may be a little bit tricky, ironically, could be around a family relationship. Perhaps there are people around you who are not quite seeing eye to eye. You could find yourself feeling like you're playing the ref in the middle. Or it could just be that somebody close to you doesn't quite get where you're coming from. And the key here is not to get too frustrated, because with the energy in the sign of Cancer, if you can use the charm of Venus to convey your point of view, whether it's professionally or in a personal situation, despite that quarter moon being a little tender, I still feel there's an opportunity for you to really gain a lot from this week. Of course, your modern ruler Pluto is in a square with Jupiter for the whole of this month. I feel here what that's saying for you is that whatever you're trying to achieve, you're usually very invested. You know, if things mean a lot to you, you put your heart and soul into them. There's nothing new about that, but it's just measuring that so it is proportionate for each situation. So in other words, to use that old-fashioned saying, don't try too hard. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data, of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This can help you to get a much more intimate understanding of the patterns that have played out in your life so far, but also seize the opportunities much more firmly. Also, my special package of 30% off, you will get your 12-month personal forecast, totally unique to you, which can give you searing insights for the time and months to come. If you don't know your time of birth, I've a new product I've developed based very much on the sun. So if you enjoy watching your sun sign videos on YouTube, these will make a lot of sense. The same package, 30% off. Please see the link below. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, comment or subscribe.